Imagine this. You're 12 years old, pregnant, and in the middle of the night, your own family throws you out. No money, no home, only cold rain and hungry eyes in dark streets. This is the story of Sophia, a girl who lost everything but still didn't break. What no one expected. Years later, she would return, stronger, braver, and carrying a truth that would change everything. Stay with us because this story will not only bring you to tears, but might also make you rethink what family really means. You've brought shame upon this family. Louis's voice thundered through the tiny living room like a clap of lightning. The table shook under the blow of his fist. Sophia stood trembling, her eyes pleading with her mother. But Isabella looked at her only with cold disgust. So young and already pregnant. God, how could I have brought someone like you into this world? I didn't mean to, Sophia whispered, but her voice was drowned in their scorn. Tears streamed down her face. Louis pointed to the door. Get out. And don't you ever come back. Sophia felt the ground vanish beneath her feet. Her knees nearly buckled. Outside, neighbors were already gathering, staring, whispering, judging. They didn't know the story, but it didn't matter. Her world shattered. Rain poured in cold sheets as Sophia wandered the streets. No destination, no shelter. Each step heavier than the last. In a park, they wouldn't even let her sleep on a bench. An old man slammed a door in her face. And then, in the darkness, footsteps, voices. Hey girl, what are you doing out here all alone? 3 men stepped out of the shadows, their eyes hungry, their voices threatening. Panic. She ran, stumbled, trembled, but somehow she got away. In an alley, she curled up beneath a tree, hands wrapped protectively around her belly. Why does everyone hate me? She whispered. The rain gave no answer. As the cold numbed her body and sleep pulled her under, she dreamed of her parents' faces, twisted in disgust. When she awoke, she could barely breathe. The rain had soaked her completely. Her lips were blue. And then, a voice. Software old. Child, what are you doing out here? A woman with gray hair and a large umbrella leaned over her. I'm Margaret, but you can't stay here. Sophia collapsed in her arms. It was the first human touch that didn't hurt, and the beginning of something she couldn't yet understand. A second chance. When Sophia opened her eyes, everything was different. Warmth, the scent of freshly baked bread, and the soft clatter of dishes. Margaret, the elderly woman from the night before, quietly set down a glass of warm milk and a piece of bread. You're safe now, child. Just rest for a while. But Sophia could barely take a bite. Her fingers trembled, her eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve this. I'm a disgrace. Margaret sat beside her, took Sophia's hands in her own, wrinkled, warm, and steady. No one deserves to be treated the way you were. And yes, you do deserve to live. Those words pierced through the cold in Sophia's soul. It was the first time someone offered her not just pity, but love. Slowly, Sophia began helping in the bakery. But no sooner had she learned to knead dough than the judgment of the neighborhood came down hard. Whispers behind the bread counter, mocking stares, and finally, a warning. Carlos, a young man from the area, showed up one evening with his friends. What's this girl doing here? She's only trouble. Margaret stood protectively in front of Sophia. People who want to buy bread are welcome. People who want to spread hate can leave. But the rumors only grew louder. One night, while Margaret was away, Carlos and his gang broke into the bakery. They threw loaves on the floor, kicked over flour sacks, and shouted, "Get out, before things get worse!" Shaking, Sophia gathered up the mess, tears dripping into the dough. When Margaret returned, she found the bakery in ruins, and Sophia collapsed on the floor. I can't do this anymore, the girl whispered. I'm the burdens that's ruining your life. Margaret knelt beside her, held her tightly like a mother. "You are not a burden, Sophia. You are my family." But that night, while Margaret slept, Sophia wrote a letter with trembling hands. "Thank you for everything, but I can't keep dragging you down. I'll find another way for you, for me, and for Anna." Then she left into the darkness, leaving behind everything that had given her strength. Sophia wandered the city, alone, pregnant, penniless. The cheap boarding house she found reeked of mold, and the landlady looked at her like she was filth. On the streets, she was insulted, mocked, robbed. The days blurred into an endless nightmare. She was falsely accused of theft. Children threw stones at her. No one listened. No one believed her. One cold, wet night, as she took shelter beneath a broken roof, Sophia thought her heart had taken its final beat. But then, as if from nowhere, Margaret appeared, holding a flashlight and an umbrella. "You foolish girl," she whispered, shaking. "You are my family, and I will never leave you alone again." She threw her arms around Sophia. Two souls, broken but unbeaten, held each other tightly in the rain. Back at the little bakery, they slowly found their way back to life. People still whispered, but Sophia learned to ignore them. Then Anna was born. Her daughter, her light, her reason. Years passed. Sophia opened her own cafe on the edge of town. She called it Anna. She became strong, confident, independent, until one morning, an elderly woman with silver hair stepped into the cafe. Sophia recognized her instantly. Isabella, her mother. The air grew heavy. Anna stood confused beside her. You're my grandmother?" Isabella cried, fell to her knees. "I did everything wrong. I'm not asking for forgiveness, only for a chance." Sophia could barely breathe. 13 years of pain stood between them. But then, Anna stepped forward, placed her small hand on her mother's. "Mama, maybe she deserves that chance." Sophia was silent for a long time. Then she nodded, not for Isabella, but for herself, for her own freedom, and for the girl who once stood in the rain and never gave up on herself. If this story touched your heart, did you feel it too? How strong a person can become when everything is taken from them except hope. Sophia's story isn't just about pain and betrayal. It's about courage, forgiveness, and how one person can change another's life forever. If you believe in the power of love, give this video a like. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that move your soul. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today, and tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Sophia's shoes? Because sometimes the journey to healing begins with nothing more than an open heart.